G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. We're just out at Warren Conservation Park today. It's been almost 12 months since I've been out here. It's middle of July at the moment. Orchid season kind of just kicking off. So I've only just started the walk. Car's just over there. But I just figured I'd show you what we found already. Got heaps of the Terrastylus species orchids here next to the trail. Lots of leaves there. These are nodding greenhoods. Terrastylus nutans. So it's not a full flower out yet, but it's getting there. I'm not sure how much we're actually going to see in flower today. I kind of just coming out here for a look. Figured I'd put together a quick video. I'd probably expect to see Terrastylus nana flowering, the dwarf greenhoods. I think we're a little bit early for like Philodenia deformis, anything like that. Obviously we're going to have maybe a few of the Terrastylus nutans around the place. Hoping to see some Corybus, both the incurvus and the I can't remember the scientific name of the other one. I think it's Dimenicus. So the slaty helmet orchid and the veined helmet orchid. Yeah, it's a lovely winter's day today. It must be close to 20 degrees. Not a cloud in the sky. Just after lunch at the moment, so I'm probably going to be pushing sunset with this walk. It's a 9k loop, about 3 hours or so around, depending on how often you stop. Yeah, I'll try not to make this a super long video today. Just bring you in when I find some orchids and stuff, because I've done heaps of videos here in the past, and as you can probably hear by my breathing, my fitness levels are not what they have been. Alright, we'll get to hiking and see what's in flower. Obviously we're also at the start of the carnivorous plant season here in the Adelaide Hills. I think my last video from here 11 months ago actually was focused around carnivorous plants. Yeah, got heaps of the Drosera whitakeri, always heaps of them here in this park, big clumps of them, just all growing on top of each other. And yeah, nice sunny day at the moment, so they got flowers open here and there about the place. They often have multiple flowers per plant. You can see all the buds there on these guys. So yeah, Drosera whitakeri should have Drosera planchini, Drosera gunniara, or gunniana, I think is the scientific name. Also got the little one that I can, with the orange flower, that I can never remember the scientific name of. It's like the pumpernickel sundew. Yeah. So yeah, I'll show you those as well as I come across them, if I come across them. We've had a very wet start to orchid season this year in the Adelaide Hills. It's really only just this week that it's kind of fined up and got warm again. Yeah, I was in Queensland last week, but it was very wet down here for basically that whole period. Hopefully that bodes well for a good orchid season ahead. I'm just going to keep you with me here because there's normally Terrastylus nana through here, although I'm not seeing any at the moment. Potentially we have already missed their flowering season. Quite an early flower. Yeah, look, I'm not seeing any here at the moment, but not to worry. They are very common. There's plenty around, and I've no doubt that we're going to see some. All right, we're going to carry on. Everything's looking wonderfully green and damp. We've got another one of the very common orchids here in the park. Just a leaf at the moment. They flower later on in the year, but Caledonia tentaculata, king spider orchid. Always heaps of those late in the season, like probably October for those guys. Not going to see any of those in flower today, no chance, way too early, but definitely see a few leaves around for them. A little bit further along the track, we got heaps of the climbing sundew here. I think it's Drosera planchini. It's this one. And kind of like scramble themselves up through the grass. Not sure if I'm going to be able to zoom in suitably on it, but yeah. Always heaps of that stuff here as well. Yeah, they all grow in the same sort of areas. You still got the Drosera whitakeri up here as well. All over the place. I think we're a bit too early for the tall sundew and the climbing sundew to be in flower. We'll keep an eye out though. I'm not seeing any more pterostylis yet. They're certainly not jumping out at me, but it may take me a little while to get my eye in. Alright, something to be aware of on these warm days. I've just disturbed quite a large red belly off the trail. He's going down this way. I'm not sure if he's going to pop out again for me. He disappeared into this mallee tree down here. He's probably not going to make another appearance. And I can't see him at the moment. Probably 4 feet long. Must have been sunning himself on the trail and I didn't see him because I was looking for flowers. I have to keep my eyes open. I'm wearing the jeans and boots today, so a little bit of protection, but I should say loose jeans and boots. Not too worried. Another species I forgot to mention that we're probably going to see today is the Achianthus species. So Achianthus bacillus and Achianthus caudatus. That's the mosquito orchid and the mayfly orchid. It's a big colony of the mosquito orchids down here. They're under a tree here. So you can see all the heart-shaped leaves. They're starting to get towards the end of their season, but we've still got a few flowers here, if I can focus on them. They're a tough one. There we go. Yeah, they form big colonies. These ones are all really tucked in under the bush here. We do have another Caledonia tentaculata leaf there as well. So yeah, we're gonna see a few of those today. There's gonna be lots around. And hopefully, yeah, the mayfly orchid, the Achianthus caudatus, is flowering as well. I don't normally see them on this section of track, but once we start going up the other side, after we go down through the gully down here, we should start to see a few. I've not seen as much fungi today as I might have expected. But it is what it is. I'm not good with fungi anyway. I couldn't offer you any identifications. Got more pterostylis leaves here. These ones. Probably also nodding greenhood, I think. Form colonies. Pretty standard for them. Lots of the Droseras. plenty to see, even if not everything is flowering yet. That might be a Glossodia major leaf, I think. Purple cockatoo orchid. Alright, a little bit further along the trail. I haven't recorded anything since the last video, but there's a nice colony of Pterostylis sanguinea here. Blood greenhood. So these guys, I'll try not to get in the light for them. I'm often here much later in the season for these guys, so I don't always see them. Quite often they're just dried out husks by the time I get here. Another cool Pterostylis species, and there's quite a number of them here. You can go from being very short ones to really quite tall. And that one's quite tall, a lot of flowers on top. From my experience, they seem to flower progressively over the course of a season before finally expending themselves. Yeah, cool species. I don't see a lot of here. Another one just over here. A couple of better examples of the tall sundews here, a bit more advanced. Upright habit, and then the shield. Well, these ones have got shield shaped pads. If it's going to focus for me, it might not. Doesn't really want to. It wants to focus on my hand, but you get the idea anyway. Alrighty, we found our first Corybus species for the trip. I haven't been in for a closer look yet, and I'm thinking we're going to find some better ones for video sakes, but I'll show you these anyway. It's going to be a little tough because they're all tucked in the bark down here. They've got a similar leaf to the Achianthus, but more rounded. Got one immature flower there. Where are we? Am I pointing the camera at it? I am. Down here. I'm not sure. It looks like it's probably, I want to say Dimenicus, but I'm not going to commit to an ID. That's just what I think. Yeah. Fair sized colony there, but all under the bark. So as we go up the other side of this gully, I'm hoping we're going to see a lot more. Right down the bottom of the park now, or the trail anyway, right in the creek valley. A few more Corybus down here. Again, hard ones to get in and show you, and they're just in bud. So there's a couple down there that are just starting. There's quite a nice little colony in here. They go run all the way back in under the Xanthoria there. Nice that the creek's flowing. I'd say this is probably dry or stagnant most of the year. Even after all the rain we've had, it's only just flowing. Usually a good variety of ferns down here. You can obviously see the Chelianthes rock fern. But I've seen the maidenhair ferns hanging from the bank in the past. There's a couple down there, not many. It's those ones with the round leaves. That's probably the wrong terminology for ferns, but you know what I mean. The round ones over there. certainly hear lots of frogs. Alright, we're going to work our way up this slope, up to the ridge. This is normally the sort of prime area for Pterostylis and koi bass species. So I'm sure we're going to see a few. I'm not going to film too much of the actual walking though, because it's steep. Haven't come that far up. Got some greenhoods here, so Pterostylis nutans. Not quite in flower, they got the buds up. It's a bit more advanced. And we got these suspicious looking guys here. I have my suspicions about these. I'm not a mushroom connoisseur, but I guess if you know, you know. I'm not going to pick them because YouTube can be a bit funny about that. But they look very comparable to some that I found out at the reservoir a few weeks back. Yeah. And I'm fairly certain they are the same variety. Subs, I believe people call them. Anyway. More Achianthus here. Not too many in flower still, but a couple of stalks still up. Oh, there's actually a million of them back in there. All over the place. I don't think they need like the Xanthorrhea to grow and form colonies, but I think the like the spiky tips, these are quite sharp and you don't want to be sticking your face into them. I think they actually provide shelter from grazing animals and stops all the flower stalks from getting grazed off, which is why you often find big colonies in association with them. I see the same thing with like Caladinia reticulata down at Scott Conservation Park. Quite often big groups of them in under the leaves of the Xanthorrhea. We're going to keep looking, hoping to see some nutans in proper flower. Keep my fingers crossed. Slogging up the hill. Finally found some koi bass. Also taking advantage of the shelter provided by Xanthorrhea just here. So they're in here. So these are koi bass diamenicus, which is the veined helmet orchid. A few flowers there. Yeah, they look like gum nuts from above. If you just see that dark top on them, they just look like gum nuts, so they can be hard to spot. But yeah, there's quite a lot here. This one here too, which might actually be a slaty, the incurvus, but sometimes they can be hard to tell the difference. Let's see. It could still be a veined, I'm not sure. Sometimes they look dramatically different and sometimes they are almost identical. So, yeah. I'm hoping to find a few more bigger patches as we go up around the corner. And just to touch base back on that, those mushrooms that we found back there. They could have been the pea subs, but I did come a bit further up the trail and found one that definitely wasn't. It's one of the ones that looks similar. I think they're called Jims. Definitely wasn't. So, yeah. Looks slightly different to those first two. I'm almost certain they were the desirable variety. But yeah, as I say, I don't consume them, I don't pick them, and I'm not an expert. So, yeah. I have noticed every year I come here, this, sorry, sidetracked. I've just noticed another Pterostylis nutans down in there, now that I've stopped. Still not fully in flower yet, just a bud. But yeah, what I was going to say is every year I come here, this one patch of blackberries seems to be getting bigger and bigger. I haven't really seen them anywhere else in this park except for here. It's one spot. I don't know how they got here. Birds, I guess. But yeah, feral species. And has the potential to take over, I guess. Hopefully it gets under control. I haven't really seen too many of the, well, not as many as I was expecting anyway, Pterostylis coming up here. It was good to see the Corybas, although I also haven't seen as many as those as I was expecting. Yeah, but no, I was hoping to see the nodding greenhoods in full flower up here, but might just be a little bit too early still. I haven't seen any of the Acanthus caudatus either. Lots of the Acanthus bacillus. These guys are just everywhere. Super common. Yeah, none of the caudatus yet. To be fair, I've only ever seen them in small colonies right on the trail edge up here. Never seen huge numbers. Still, we might see them somewhere. Still haven't gone quite far enough up that I'd expect to be seeing the nut orchids yet. Haven't quite reached the rocky outcrops. I think we've got two more switchbacks to go. And then we might start seeing those guys. Yeah, but sort of any sheltered spot you get these Acanthus colonies. They're just everywhere. They don't seem to have a massive preference for environment. Alright, bench. I'm going to take a quick breather and then we're going to continue up the hill. Just come past the bench and we've got our first little patch of Certostylus leaves. Doesn't look like there's any flowers though, so maybe we're too early for these guys. They also form quite big colonies. We'll see as we go a little bit further up. Maybe we'll see some flowers. There's a tree creeper up there, I think. I won't go to 10 times zoom because my phone will drop out. But alright, carrying on. Fair bit of water on the track, even up here. So all these crevices always contain orchids. I think that's a Corybas one in there. And then got Certostylus down here, just starting to bud up, so yeah, probably a few weeks early for those. Big colony there. No flowers though. Another Pterostylis sanguinea here, halfway up the slope. I'm glad we're seeing some orchids, even if we're not quite getting all the ones we were hoping to see. colonies of the Caladienias for later on in the year. As I said earlier, looks like it's going to be a good season. Oh, real squishy through here. More orchids in this crevice. Probably corybus as well, I think. Right back in there. Yep. Alrighty, we've made it up onto the ridgeline now. Got some sunshine again. Yeah, didn't see a whole heap of pterostylis coming up the hill there. I thought we were going to see some more corybus too, but alas, we didn't. I still haven't seen any pterostylis nana, which surprises me. They're normally super common, super abundant, and they're quite early flowering. They should be up now, I think. This section here is our next opportunity to see them, so yeah, I'll certainly bring you back in if we do. If you've seen any of my other Warren videos, you probably know this stretch. Found the reaching spider orchids and stuff in this spot on the left here in the past. It's a nice area up here. Kind of opens up a bit. It's always sunny, a little bit drier up here generally speaking. Still finding orchids. These guys are in huge numbers, obviously. Showed them a few times now in the video. The Achianthus bacillus. Still haven't seen their cousins. That's the way it goes. Did find I found heaps of the Certostylus coming up the hill, but they're all just leaves. Only a few buds, so too early for them. Found a couple more buds of the Pterostylus nutans, but nothing in full flower. So again, probably a little bit early for those guys as well. I'm going to continue working up the hill, and I will bring you back in if I see anything more than Caladenia leaves and Achianthus bacillus. Again, got more Certostylus leaves down here. I think that's Certostylus anyway. Carrying on. Alright, I took 2 steps from the last clip and saw this guy down here. Well, these guys, there's 2 of them there actually. These are new ones for me for this park. I think these are robust greenhoods. Whoops, don't fucking break them off. So, seeing these out in the mallee, I think, or something similar anyway. So they've got a leafy stem, like the Pterostylus sanguinea. I don't think they're no, they're definitely not nodding greenhoods. Just a different form altogether to a nodding greenhood, but yeah, definitely gonna take some pictures of these guys, because I don't actually know what species they are, and they're definitely a new one for me for this park. That's cool. Wasn't expecting to find anything new today. Good example here of Certostylus species loving rock crevices. There's a little lizard down there too. He's going to run away, but that's alright. We're focusing on the orchids here. Whole colony of them. right tucked into the crevice there. I'm pretty sure that's certostylus. I mean, it could be, might actually be corybus. I'm pretty sure it's certostylus though. Yeah, tucked right in there. Again, not in flower. But they certainly like getting in those little shady nooks and crannies. Still seeing the odd Pterostylus sanguinea. They are in season, I guess. And still plenty of greenhood leaves about. Yeah, definitely haven't seen any Pterostylus nana yet though. Maybe just a rough season for them, I don't know. I'm sure if I went out to Ferries McDonald or Minato, we'd see them by the million. They form massive colonies out there. And yeah, with the Acanthus caudatus, I'm sure if I went out to Macclesfield Quarry, they would be all over the place. They're just about more common than Acanthus bacillus up there. Do I say I haven't seen any Pterostylus nana? I come across a couple. First ones I've seen for the whole walk. Little guys. One there. It's a slightly special looking one there. And then a couple in bud just behind it. So yeah, obviously a little colony there. First ones I've seen all trip. That's right, can tick them off for the year now. Not a fan of this little section of the trail. It's a little bit brushy for my liking. We're almost up to the almost up to the intersection with the Hale Connector Trail. I've said in the past that I should go and do the length of that someday. Do this hike and link it with the Hale Loop. I think it's about a 26k round trip. I have followed it down there, right down to the South Para River before, but that's as far as I've gone. Not gone any further. And I've come from like South Para Reservoir and followed that arm up all the way to that trail, but again, never gone any further than that. So one day. Today we don't have anywhere near as much time, so just for reference, oh, so much pollen's just come off of that. It's like it's smoking. I'm sure that's good in my lungs. Anyway, just for reference, I think I've showed these in previous videos, but we've started down here and we've come up this way, and this is where we are currently. Heading up towards the fire tower. Basically just a ridge line along here, and then we go back down and meet with the thing. It's just a full loop. But yeah, it's a nice trail. So we're going to continue on this way. Again, if you've watched previous videos, orchids along this section, Calladenia reticulata, Calladenia tentaculata, they're both later in the season. Donkey orchids, sun orchids, again, later in the season. I don't know that I actually have any early season stuff along this section of the trail. There's a kangaroo down there. It's been a controlled burn through here. Kangaroo down there. Mainland grey kangaroo. Pretty unconcerned by me, but I'm sure he'll move off if I keep walking. I don't know where this has come from. Bit weird for it to be lying across the trail, but maybe it was there while they were doing this burn, which looks like it was fairly recent. I'm pretty sure this wasn't all burnt out last time I was here. Well, 12 months ago. I guess they used the trail here as a little bit of a fire break, and then, because nothing's burnt on my right hand side, which is Conservation Park. Left hand side sort of runs down towards Warren Reservoir way. Yeah, doesn't look like it was a particularly savage burn or anything. Everything's already reshot. Be interesting to see if I get back here this season how that's impacted the orchids on the left hand side of the track. Always used to be, yeah, Calladenia reticulata. I think there's also the bearded greenhoods along here as well. As I said, all later in the season stuff. Anyway, I'm going to keep wandering. You know the drill. Been nothing of real interest in the last sort of 500-600 metres. Lots of Calladenia leaves. Nothing else really. Got a few more Pterostylis sanguinea here. But other than that, haven't seen anything else in flower. It's normally a little bit of a lean area for orchids anyway up here. Sanguinea. There is obviously leaves around, like heaps of leaves, but I never see heaps of flowers up here. Yeah, I don't know, just a weird one. Normally just spread out Calladenia and lots of Termitra and Tenifera actually when the weather's warmer. Oops, trip. Yeah, but never anything else of any real interest. Kind of just working my way up towards the fire trail and Tower Road at the moment, so just powering through it. After you go past the fire tower and back into the bushland, there's normally stuff of interest in there. At the right time of year, obviously. Maybe not at the moment, but it's a cracking evening. Lovely afternoon, sorry, for a hike. It's always nice up here at the top. One of my favourite places to be. Same as I'm going to go for a hike at Mount Beaver. Up at the summit is always nice. See, this is the tower that gives Tower Hill Circuit its name. It does have a whole bunch of scaffolding around it now though. I wonder if they're tearing it down or fixing it up, I don't know, but none of that scaffolding was here 12 months ago. Really should visit these places more often, shouldn't I, so I can keep up to date with what's happening. Great views from up here though, 360 views at the top. Not much in the way of orchids and stuff up here though. It's basically a sheep paddock, this section that the track cuts through. So this, the back half of this walk, if you do it, what am I doing it clockwise? If you do this walk clockwise, the back half up towards the tower and then along the fire trails is definitely lean on early season orchids. Lots of leaves and stuff. It's a great spot for sort of like mid and late season orchids. All the calladenias and stuff, stacks of them through the back half of the walk. But when you're talking about like pterostylis and corybus and stuff, yeah, a little bit light on for those. Oh, tree down over the track here. There's still, I mean, obviously there's plenty of leaves for the calladenias and everything all over the place. You know, you can pretty much stop anywhere and find an orchid leaf if you look. But yeah, just none of the stuff that's going to be likely to be flowering at this time of year. It's a nice area come the spring though, this little section. Not necessarily this track, but when you turn sort of right up at the end up there, super colourful in the spring. It's just everything along there flowers and it's amazing. Everything's kind of green at the moment, and apart from like your heaths and stuff, which are, can I say, yeah, they got the red flowers on them. Everything else is kind of yet to flower, so anyway, still got a couple of k's of this walk to go, so certainly going to keep my eyes peeled and I'll bring you in if I see anything. But yeah, just not a lot to film from an orchid point of view at the moment. So this is a slightly interesting find. I've been out here to Warren numerous times looking for midge orchids in the autumn and never found them when they're in flower, but I always seem to come across them like later into orchid season when they're done, and the same thing's happened now. So come down here and we've got the remnants of a midge orchid. It's way past its prime. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's Genoplesium rufum out here. I don't think Teperi is in the hills, but I think also known as Coruna stylus. But yeah, I'm not so good with them. But yeah, I can never find them when they're in flower up here. Only ever see the stalks when they're done, so a bit frustrating. But anyway, I'll take a photo. So I've got a pin drop on Ionatrellus. There's another one there. Yeah, so I've got a pin drop on Ionatrellus for next autumn, and I can come up here and have a look at them. Interesting find anyway. And this is exactly my frustration. I've only come maybe 10 meters from those last two midge orchids and found another one. They're not even big, they just seem to stand out when they're done flowering for me. I'm not sure why. Just wish I could see them better when they were in flower. I guess they do have quite a dark flower on them, generally speaking, but yeah. Anyways, I guess I'm taking another photo of this one. So I've got another pin drop. Yeah, good little section here for midge orchids, obviously, in the autumn. Alrighty, I think I'm going to call it there for this video. We've just made it to where we duck back down to the like the trail in. Frustratingly, I found another like 4 or 5 patches of those old midge orchids along there. Would love to see them when they're in flower during the autumn, but That's right, at least I know they're there. I've got 4 or 5 pin drops for next autumn, and maybe we can do a video out here. One of the early season prospecting videos out here for a change, and actually see something. Normally I do them sort of down on Keataway or Cock Scrub, where you're looking at the hair orchids and the midge orchids down there. But if I could find some midge orchids up here for something a bit different in the autumn time, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, channel's on the cusp of 600 subscribers as I film this. It'd be great to tip over that this year. But yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed it. Perhaps comment if there's anything that piqued your interest, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.